Alright, hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to, hold on, I'm gonna switch over here, the camera over here. So today I'm going to be doing every book that I have read so far this year, and to be honest, I have no idea. So I'm gonna look at the number and I'm gonna get the same reaction as you guys because I literally have no idea how many books I've read this year. But yeah, I feel like I haven't read that many books, but I have read a lot of books, but I just feel like I haven't read that many books. I don't know why. I think I kind of just like this year, like I wanted to prioritize. Ooh, my my face is like half my face is glowing, but um, but this year I just wanted to prioritize my sanity because I like, and if I'm not enjoying a book, I'm not gonna keep reading it. So I DNF'd a lot, and I kind of like skipped out on a lot of books because I was just like, I'm not feeling it right now, and I'm probably not gonna give it a chance if I read it right now. So I'm just not gonna read it right now, or I'm not in the mood to read it right now. I'm not gonna read it, and I'm not gonna like force myself to read something that I'm not enjoying. So, or just not in the mood for. And um yeah, so that's it. Like I actually I kind of soft DNF'd a book because I was like, I'm not really in the mood for this type of book right now. Even though like I did put it on hold on Libby and I wanted to read it, I was just like, I don't want to read. I'm not in the mood for this anymore, so I stopped reading. And I was like, I'm just gonna carry on and read something else because I'm just like, I don't know, like sometimes I'm not in the mood. So I just stopped. But yes, and right now, I'm gonna start with the books I am currently reading right now. I am currently reading Kings of Pride by Anne Huang, and I'm 51% in, and I'll probably finish it soon. And then that oh, by the way, that is the second book in the Kings of Sin series, and I'm also listening to this book because the narrator, the person who is reading the book, I'm reading the audiobook. The person who narrates the book is incredible, so I had to listen to the book again. And this is a book that I've already read, so I know I'm gonna like it. And I'm reading it because it's Summerween, and I wanted to read a spooky, scary book for this Summerween season. And also, I wanted to read a summery book, but also like since it's Summerween, I wanted to read something that was spooky. So I decided to read It by Stephen King as a reread, and I'm really liking it so far. And I've given breaks because it's a lot reading a 45-hour long book, so I've been giving myself breaks from it by listening to music or whatever I'm listening to in between listening to the book. So every couple of hours, like I read it, and then especially when I'm at work, I'm just listening to the book, and then if I'm like, okay, I kind of want to take a break from this book, I like just go on my Spotify and go listen to something, anything really. And yeah, but right now I am 36% in with this book, and I feel like that is pretty good for. I feel like that's pretty good for how long this book takes to read. So yeah. So hold on, I'm trying to get comfortable because I feel like if I don't move my legs, my leg is gonna fall asleep. So sorry. Sorry if I keep moving in this video. Hold on. Okay, I'm gonna switch the angle back over here. There we go. So, yeah, sorry about that. Guys, my legs were doing stuff to me. So, okay, so we're gonna see the reading goal. Okay, this is not bad. I have read 60 books to my 100 book reading goal, and that is really good because we're like 6 months. Yeah, we're 6 months into the year, so that's pretty good. I feel like I've done a really good job keeping track and keeping on with my reading goal. And yeah, and I feel like since I did like a lot of books last year, I was like, okay, I'm just gonna make my goal this year 100, because I feel like that's in the middle, and I didn't want to do too many because I was like, I don't know, I was like kind of reprehensive of doing anything more than that, but I didn't want to go lower because I just felt like, you know, I can do 100 books. I can do 100. So, yeah. So hopefully I do read 100 books this year. So, yeah. And yeah, I feel like I can do, I feel like I can do that. I can do that. So, yeah. And then let's get on to the books that I did read this year. So I'm just going to start at the beginning. I feel like my first book is a very, very strong book to read for the year. But yeah, I feel like it's a very strong book to start off with because the theme of the book and the content of the book is a very like heavy topic, and I'm gonna read you guys what I wrote on my review and everything like that. And yeah, so the first book that I did read was Little Rot by Akwaeke Emezi, and I gave that book 3 stars. And the reason was because, like I said, it's a very heavy book, and it's very like and there was like so many times where I wanted to DNF it because I was just like, it's so heavy and it's something that is so uncomfortable, but I feel like that is the whole point in the book itself. So I'm gonna read you guys the review. So, this is like literally the first sentence. This book was a bunch of craziness. And okay, so this book was a bunch of craziness. This was my first time reading something like this. In my eyes, this book is about the dirtiness of people and the nasty things that people do, whether they choose to hide it or not. Also, when we do see those kinds of things, will we do something about it, or will we put our heads down? After all that chaos, the ending was pretty tame for what it was. And I still stand by that. I still stand by the fact that that book was a bunch of craziness. And I feel like this is something that we it's such like a taboo. Yes. Yes. It's this book is a bunch of taboos rolled up into one, and it's about kind of like it's kind of like um about like this Nigerian girl and guy. I'm just gonna read you guys the book description. So yeah, it's a thrilling new novel from the best-selling award-winning Akwaeke Emezi about five friends trying to outrun and outmatch a powerful underground world one weekend. The elite underbelly of a Nigerian city, a breakup that starts a spiral, a party that goes awry, a tangled web of sex, lies, and corruption that leaves no one unscathed. Little Rot is a whirling journey through the city's dark side, told through the eyes of five people, each determined to run from the twisted powers out to destroy them. Um, I forgot how you're supposed to say these names. But I think it's Ama, and Kalu are a longtime couple who have just split when um when Kalu, reeling from his loss, visits a sex party hosted by his best friend Ahmed. He makes a decision that will plunge them all into chaos, brutally upending their lives. Ola and Soraya, two Nigerian workers. Um, I know I just said the word, but it's different. Okay, it's different. Um, um, okay, visiting from Kuala Lumpur, intersect with the three old friends as everything goes to hell. Sucked into the city's corrupt underworld, they are all looking for a way out of their trouble. They instigated, driven by loss and fueled by a desperate need to escape the dangerous threat that looms over them. They careen madly in the faces of the poison of power, sexual violence, murder, and betrayals. Little Rot tests how far these five will go to save each other or themselves. When confronted by evil, accumulating in a shattered um, denouement, I don't know how you're supposed to say that word, denouement, with each novel, with each creation, Akwaeke Emezi shows their genius as a storyteller, as a visionary force who has created a thrilling tale of sex, power, and defiance in the rut. You won't be able to look away. And, like, oh my gosh, guys, this book, it brought me to a spot of uncomfortableness that I've never like have been in ever when reading a book. And um yeah, like I it felt weird. It felt weird reading this book. And kind of, but I think that was the whole point, like I said in the beginning. um I feel like that was the whole point into this book, and it was just a crazy book to read as the first book of the year. It was crazy, and excuse me. And yeah, and I think that's like what a whole taboo is about, is like kind of that's why the things that we don't talk about are not talked about, because it's such a taboo, and it's uncomfortable to talk about because it's so like, I don't want to say intimate, but it is. And like some of these things are very intimate and so secluded because it's like an experience between two people, and yeah, it's an or it could be just one person, and just reading it, it felt like the experience of seeing something that I wasn't supposed to see. And and like also the book had that experience, and talking about that also in the book, of like um one of the characters, they also saw something that they weren't supposed to see. And um and but they were choosing just to be in there, but they saw something that they weren't supposed to see, or they felt like that. And that's how I felt reading the book. I was like, oh my gosh, this book is so crazy. And I was like, is life really like this? But like, I feel like it is, because there is like things that were in this book. I feel like there are people like this, and there are people who have like, they're supposed to be this, um I don't want to say holy, but this like very much powerful, holy, very much like supposed to be like good guy kind of like image. But on the other side of things, they're the most disgusting, vile human beings in the whole entire planet. And we have people like this in the world. But I feel like, because I feel like on the outer hand, like on the low, people knew about this, but it wasn't, but no one ever said anything about it. People, so people kind of just like, we're not talking about this. And that's the whole thing of like the taboo. Like, people don't do that. People don't out people, because everybody's doing it. In this book, um, everybody was like, kind of like, we can't. This guy's very powerful man, so we can't like talk about this guy. We can't do any of this stuff, because it's gonna be bad on us if we say something about it. So it's like, yeah. So that's like the other thing that I was talking about in my review. It's like, do like, when we see things like this, do we say something, or do we just let our head down and just not say nothing? Um, because we don't want to be on the short end of the stick, and something like, and we get punished for saying something. So yeah, it's like it's like kind of like that. It's, yeah, I'm not going to talk about this book too much, but it was just a crazy book to start off the year with, for sure. And then I read Little Women by Louisa May Alcott, and this was just like, a long time coming. Like, I love the movie Little Women, so I had to read the book. I think it is an incredible book to read. I recommend everyone to read it. Um, and yeah, I just loved it. And I gave that book a 5 stars. And yeah, I loved it so much. But also at the same time, um, I don't know. I feel like when I after I read the book, I kind of like I don't know what to say. Um, I don't know. Let's just talk about another book, because I don't know. I don't know what I was gonna say. And then I read um, Assistant to the Villain by Hannah Nicole Mayer. I don't know if I said that right, but I gave that book a 4 stars, and I said in my review, um I said I absolutely love this book. I love the characters, the banter, and everything was so good. The plot twist was so unexpected. I'm definitely going to read the next book soon. Um, um, I have not read the next book. I just haven't been able to find it on Libby. Um, so yeah, especially because like I work, so I need the audiobook, and I just like they don't have one on Libby, so yeah. And then um I read Belladonna, and I gave that 4 stars. And in my review, I said, OMG, I loved this book. Everything about this was so good. Death was so hot, and Signa and Death had so much chemistry. The plot twist in the book is so crazy. Definitely reading the next book, and I did. But we'll get to that later. And Belladonna is by Adeline Grace, and I love this book so much. It's one of my favorite books of the year. Um, to be honest, there really isn't that many favorite books of the year because I feel like I've read a lot of just okay books, or that was a good book, but it wasn't my favorite. So yeah, like I feel like I've read so many of those kinds of books where the book was it was just okay. It wasn't anything crazy. It was just okay. Um, and that's what I feel like I have read so far this year is like just okay books. There have been some really really good books, but like I said, when I read Belladonna, I fell in love with that, and I don't know, like it was like I haven't read like anything like that before, like a YA romance that was like that before, but also like I hadn't read a romance in a really long time. So it felt so good, and I loved it so much. And I feel like even though Death's character was voiced by a woman, I feel like not even just that, I was just like so in love with Death's character. I loved his character so much, and like how like and like how much Death cared um for Sidra, for Signa, for Signa, for Signa Faro, and like I loved how um Death had a like little nicknames for her, and um yeah, it was just so cute, and I loved it. I thought that the second book, I'll talk about that later actually. Um but yeah, so the next book I read was The Book of Secrets: Unlocking the Hidden Dimensions of Your Life by Deepak Chopra. And I feel like I gave it 4 stars, but I feel like I've read books like that before. And also like I feel like it's common sense. Like, oof, sorry guys, I got a cramp. Oof, that hurts. But yeah, sorry. Anyway, so yeah, I feel like it's common sense or common knowledge about these things that were in the book. So, yeah. And then I read What Happens in Levin. What? What did I say? Lovin. No. London. London. Okay. I don't know what is up. Like, I've been like saying things wrong, and like my stutter is going crazy. It's not as bad like as other people stutter, but I've been stuttering a lot lately, and I don't know. Like, it's probably because like I've been working a lot longer recently, and yeah. And I have been sleeping, but I feel like I'm uh, like it's not the same. It's not the same. I'm so tired. But yeah. So What Happens in London by Julia Quinn, and I give that book 3 stars. And hold on. Honestly, I don't remember this book, but I do love Julia Quinn though, but I just don't remember this one. And then I read um Wild in Love by Eloisa James, and I gave that 4 stars. I love I think these are like Regency romances or something like that, and I love that. Like I feel like I found like my favorite book genre to read in because I love Regency romance. I love reading books like that. Um, so yeah, they're so fun to read, but some of the men are like the bad guys or like the evil guys. Like, oh my gosh, they make me so mad and make me so annoyed because like just their actions in itself is just like absolutely horrendous, and that would not fly in this day and age. But I really do get it because that was the kind of stuff that they did, and they thought that like a woman speaking their mind or a woman who is just like trying to get away from a guy that is utterly ridiculous and just a bad guy in general thinks that they were hysterical. Like I remember reading a book. I think I read it this year. But I'll talk about that if I think so. I think it's coming up, but I'll talk about that more. And but yeah, like I remember this one book that I read that had that same thing, and she literally went into this little thing because her ex or someone said that she was hysterical or she had hysteria, and she went in there and she's like, I'm not hysterical. Like, and it took a really, really good guy to be like, hey, like, this is false. She's not crazy. Like, please get her out of here. She doesn't belong here. Like, that guy does though, because who does that? Who does that? She don't like you, bruh. She don't like you. Just because a woman doesn't like you doesn't mean that she's crazy. Like, and I remember also reading this one in a Regency romance, and this like was like being like, oh, like I'm her husband and she's gone crazy, whatever, and please catch her for me. And the other guy believed him and like basically chased her and pushed her to the ground. I'm like, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, that's crazy. That would not fly in this day and age. That's craziness. That's craziness. It's crazy. and they're talking about the woman being crazy and having hysterica. Do you even hear these men? They should be the ones who go in those crazy hospital things talk about hysterica. These women are hysterical. Oh my god. Don't even get me started, guys. Don't even get me started because I'm gonna get mad. And then I read Too Wild to Wed by Eloisa James. Oh yeah, and then this is also a series. It's called The Wilds of Lindo Castle, and I gave that one 3-star. And then I read the third book, and I read Born to Be Wild by Eloisa James, and I gave that 3-star. And then I read the fourth book, Say No to the Duke, and I gave that 3-star. And then I gave Say Yes to the Duke. That's the fifth book. I gave that 3-star. And then I read The Princess and the Peer by Tracy Allen Warren, and I gave that 3-star. And that is the Princess Brides series, and there's 3 books in it, so it should be called a trilogy, but it's a series. And then I read Her Highness and the Highlander, and that's the second book. I gave that 3-star, and all of them have some type of like disaster that happens in the books or something like that in the books. And then I read The Trouble with the Princesses, and I also gave that a 3-star. And then I read What to Do with the Duke, and that's the first book in the Spencer House series by Sally Mackenzie, and I gave that a 3-star. And then I read Minerva, and that's the first book in the Six Sisters series, and I gave it a 3-star, but the book is by Marion Chesney. And then I read the second book in the Six Sisters series, and that's called The Taming of Annabelle. And I give that 3-star. I don't know why I didn't rate this next book, but I don't know. It doesn't have a rating for some reason. But I read Sin, A Brother's Best Friend, College Romance. Why does it have that long title? I don't know. But it's just called Sin. And that is the book 4 in the Purity series, which I read all the books. I can't believe that series is over. And yeah, I'm very sad. But it's by Skylar Mason. I love those books. And the books are kind of about like, they're romance books, but yeah, it's about kind of escaping or getting out of a purity culture that like is kind of very toxic. Thank goodness I was never in a purity culture. I never had parents that were worried about that like so much, like getting into your children's lives like that. That's incredibly so like, it feels like you're violating someone's privacy like that, like their parents like trying to keep your children pure. Like, your children are not going to be pure forever. Like, you can't make your children be pure forever, because I mean, these are literally college girls. Like, they're not gonna be pure forever. They're literally in college. You need to let your children breathe. because they're like 18, 19, 20. I don't know how old they were, but they were like maybe their 20s, I think. I don't know. Um but yeah, like you need to you need to let them breathe. You need to let them have a life that is good, and whether they do stay pure or not, that's not up to you. Like just because you're their parents doesn't mean that you can like and like this is not only something about saving yourself for a marriage. It was like it was ruling their whole entire way that they saw themselves, and that's not something that I myself, like, if I had kids, I don't think I would even want that, because I feel like that's just like one, I feel like that is an invasion of my child's privacy, and I don't want that to be a hindrance, and I don't want them to like I also like it's their body, so I like do whatever you want, but stay safe. That's the only thing that I would be like if I was a parent. I would be like, stay safe. No, like you need to know everything. Make sure that whoever you're doing all that with is like good to go, and doesn't have anything wrong with them. You know what I'm talking about. And like and make sure that it's someone that you trust and have good rapport with. Um, because don't just do it with anybody random, like that's just not good. And like also because like that is like such like that only happens once in your life, so you need to make sure that it's special, because it's such a sacred thing, and I don't think you should do it with some random person, some random guy or girl, whoever you are. Excuse me. So yeah, that's how I feel about it. Cause I have seen like I've watched like these like TLC shows where like they were like the preacher's daughter or something, and they were like very much in purity culture, and like they were like so worried. I feel like that like is so also kind of like a strict parent thing. Like, strict parents, if you keep invading their privacy and invading their trust bubble, and you pop that trust bubble, they'll never trust you again. They'll never go to you for things. They'll never ask you for anything. They'll never come visit you when you're an old lady and you want to see them or your grandkids or whatever. Or even if they do talk to you, they're going to resent you. They're not gonna really like you. They're barely gonna call you on the phone. Like you need to be able to give your children privacy, and you need to be able to trust your kids to make their own decisions, because that's very much like oh my gosh, you need to like be able to do that, because I feel like that's just how you be, in my personal opinion, for like what I have seen, like read in books, and like books like that, where like purity culture, and also like you need to be able to give your children privacy and to trust your own kids. I have seen like videos on TikTok about like how like they have strict parents, and they have to and their parents check their kids' phones. Like I get it, like they don't want their kids to be like texting anybody, like some like or whatever, like monitoring their social media. I get that, but if you don't trust your kid enough for them, you gave them a phone to interact with people, and you're not letting them do that in their own privacy. That's an issue with you. That's an issue with you, because why are you not trusting your kids to text their friends with whatever they're texting their friends? And like, also, like, if your kid is dating someone, like, also, like, they're gonna have like talks, like, so like that, like stuff like that, or relationship or lovey-dovey talk. Like, they're like, let your kids breathe. Like, oh my gosh. And I'm not saying be like super super lenient, like and let your kid do whatever they want, but I'm just saying, like, I feel like people put so much, like they're too close. Like, you need to back up and see like how you're raising a child, because like, if you're thinking like that your kid is gonna stay a kid forever, that's false. That is false. So yeah, that's a very long rant, but let's get but we have Fourth Wing, and I really liked the first book in the Empyrean series by Rebecca Yarros. I give it 4 stars. I really really liked it. It was the first, like, actually no, it's not. I forgot. I read ACOTAR. But it was like the first kind of like younger. Isn't this a YA? I don't know. I think so. Let me see. No, it says it's new adult. Okay, I guess so. It's a romantasy, by the way. But I feel like the next 2 books are not good at all. I read Iron Flame, and I also read Onyx Storm, and that was, like, honestly, it got worse. It, like, reading the second book to the third book, oh my gosh. Like, first of all, I felt like, was her name Violet or something? Hold on. Let me see. Yeah, her name is Violet. I feel like Violet's character got super, like, oh my gosh, she had no dimension. Her character didn't have any growth at all throughout the books. I felt like she was the same girl, but with just different shoes on. Like she didn't change one bit. I feel like the spicy scenes that they had between what was the guy's name again? What is his name? Does it say here? Xaden. I feel like the spicy scenes between Violet and Xaden were very strange, but also I feel like their relationship was very, like, it also felt very, like, stagnant. And yeah, and I feel like we didn't really see any of the characters grow at all. And I also feel like I also feel like a lot of the characters got a lot more whinier, and that was really annoying. And like, even the dragons, I saw someone talk about that too, and I was like, I agreed. I was like, even the dragons got whinier, and I totally agree with that too. And I just felt like, I was like, where is this story going? Like, so yeah, I feel like the popularity of Fourth Wing got so big that Rebecca Yarros was like, "Oh, I need to keep going with this series because it's not even the series is not even done yet," and I just felt it, like it just was like, sorry, like I felt like the story was like so, it was just going nowhere. So yeah, and then I read Foxglove by Adam Grace. It's the second book in the Belladonna series, and I give it 4 star. I really did like this book, but I feel like it was some, you know how like some sequels are just like, you know, I love the sequel, but it's not as good as the first one. So yeah. And then I read Hooked, worst book ever. Gave it a 2.5. On Goodreads it looks like a 3, but it's a 2.5. I just felt like it was very fast paced, which was good, but on the other hand, it wasn't good because like I didn't know half the things that were happening. Like I was confused the whole time. And also, I also felt like the story was such a mess. I didn't know what was happening at the time either because it was so fast paced. I was like, what is going on? I don't know what, like, where are they now? I don't know. And it was it was just a mess. But yeah, Hooked by Emily McIntyre, and then I read The Ministry of Time by Kayleen Bradley, and I give that 3 stars. It was it was one of my most anticipated books of this year, um, but also it wasn't what I was expecting it to be. Um, it was good though, but it wasn't as good as I thought it would be. And there's another book that was like that too. Um, but we'll get into that. And then I read Wild Child by um Eloisa James. And then I read Pure Nessie by Susanna Clark, and I gave that 4 stars. I loved it. And yeah, that book was really good. I really, really enjoyed it. Um and yeah, I really liked that the narrator was like um well, the main character of the book was like very unreliable and everything. I feel like that was good. And then I read The Wind of the Willows by Kenneth Grahame, and I gave that 3 stars. And then I read Island of the Blue Dolphins by Scott O'Delly. Or does that say Odell or O'Delly? Oh, it says Odell. And I gave that 2 stars. I don't really like it, but I did finish it though. And then I read The Fiancé Dilemma by Elena Armas, and I give that 3 stars. And then I read Ella Enchanted by Gail Carson Levine, and I gave that 4 stars. And yeah, like the movie is great, the book is great. Can't wait till, you know, when I'm in my 30s and I have kids. I can't wait to read that to them. I think they're gonna love it. And then I read The House of My Mother, A Daughter's Quest for Freedom by Sherry Frankie, and I didn't feel right rating it. But yeah, it was like really cool to see her talking about this whole situation and everything, because I did follow their channel. Sorry, I feel nauseous right now. Like, sorry. But yeah, like I feel like it was really good to see her story and everything, and it was really cool to see her side of the story, because I did like follow their channel and I did watch their videos, and I did see like everything that was going on. I was like, oh, that's weird, but okay, carry on. But because I didn't know, obviously, but it was just crazy to see. And then I read Shirley, by Charlotte Bronte, and I gave that 3 stars. I don't know if I loved it, but I did like it. And then I read The Woman in Me by Britney Spears. Loved it. I gave it 5 star. I love just like reading. I love reading memoirs like this, or like it was just very fun to see her story, and yeah, she had a really good life, but she also had like a very sad life. So yeah. And then I read The Wild Child by Mary Jo Putney, and I gave it 3 stars. And that is like the story where that's like the one that I was talking about, where like her ex-husband put her in there because he said that she had hysteria anyway, and that she was crazy and stuff, but she was not. And then I read The Rom-Com Agenda by Jane Denker, gave that 3 star. And then I read The Outsiders by S.E. Hinton, and I gave that 4 stars. I really, really enjoyed it, but I felt like it was so short that I didn't feel connected to the characters. Also, like, I can't connect to their situation because I've never been in that situation, but still, like, I didn't feel like I connected to the characters. I wish I did though, but I just didn't, and yeah. Then I read A Walk to Remember by Nicholas Sparks. I don't know. For some reason, I was about to say Nicolas Cage, but it's not. It's Nicholas Sparks. And I gave that a 4 star. And then, sorry, I have to move my legs. My shadow. You guys can see my shadow like that. I was like, why can't I see my shadow? But yeah. And then I read Yours Actually by Nina Levine, and I give that 3 stars. Oh my gosh, stop flipping. And then I read The China Bride by Mary Jo Putney. And then I read The Taming of Ryder Kavanaugh by Stephanie Lorenz. And yeah, and I gave that 3 star. And then I read To the Lighthouse by Virginia Woolf, my first ever Virginia Woolf. I didn't love it, to be honest, but I did give it 3 stars, so yeah, it can't be that bad. But still, and then I read Wisteria by Adeline Grace, and I gave that 4 star again. I did like it, but I felt, oh yeah, I forgot to say this about Foxglove, but I feel like, you know, in Foxglove, like, it was supposed to be a continuation of Cigna and Death, but I was like, if it's about it would if it's supposed to be about them, why are we getting more of another character than like the actual two characters that it's supposed to be? So yeah, but we were because we were getting a lot of Blythe in the story, and that was supposed to set up for the next book, but like it was like a lot about her than it was about the continuation of the first two characters in the first book. And then we got Wisteria, which is supposed to be Blythe and Fate's romance. And yeah, that was really good. And then I read The Duke and I by Julie Quinn. Give it 4 stars. Really enjoyed it. And then I read The Anaconda Downstairs by Emmy Award, and I give it 3 star. And then I read The Viscount Who Loved Me, the second book in the Bridgerton series, and it's by Julia Quinn again, and I gave it 5 stars. That's literally my favorite book out of the Bridgerton books, Bridgerton series. And then I read Funny Story by Emily Henry, and I did write a review. I said I didn't like Beach Read, but I feel Funny Story has redeemed itself, and if Emily Henry writes another book that interests me, I might give it a try. I think that's what I said. Oh no, I said I might give it a read. But yeah, that is true. I feel like if Emily Henry writes another book that I want to read, I might give it a try, because I really did like Funny Story. So yeah, I did not like Beach Read. So yeah, and then I read The Pussy Next Door, and I gave that 3 star by Emmy Award. And then I read Call Me by Your Name by Andre Asman, and I loved this book. I gave it 4 star though, but I really did love it, and it actually made me tear up a bit. And yeah. And then I read Intermezzo Mezzo by Sally Rooney, and I gave that a 3 star. That was one of my other anticipated reads. I didn't love it, but I thought it was good. And then I read Lolita by Vladimir Nabokov, and yeah, and I gave it 3 star. And my review, I didn't really talk about what it was about or anything like that. My review is, I just said this. This is a book about a pathetic, perverse pedo who fell in love with a 12-year-old girl. That's it. Then I read Caught Up, and this is the second book into the Darkness series. And by Nafessa Allen, and I didn't love it. I gave it 3 stars though, but I would change my answer and say a 2.5 or so, because I did not love it. And yeah, I thought that the girl main character was so annoying, and I didn't really like her character. And then I read The King of Wrath by Anne Huang, and I give that 4 star. Really liked the book. And it's the first book in the Kings of Sin series. But yeah, and then I read Jane Eyre again by Charlotte Bronte, and I gave it 4 stars again. Yeah. And then I read Long Island Compromise by Taffy Brodesser Akner, and that was actually the last book that I read. And I gave it 4 star. I feel like this is the kind of book that is not for everyone, because it is a bit like you could say that it can be seen as a boring book, or it's not as fun or interesting, but yeah, but it is a good book though, and it has a lot of stuff in there, and I wrote a lot of notes for it, so yeah. So it can't be that bad if I wrote notes for it, but yeah, I want to start writing notes for books, but I'm not going to do that for every book. But yeah, and I hoped you guys enjoyed this video. I know it was a long one, but yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed anyway. I hope you guys give this video a huge like, and make sure you subscribe to my channel to be notified when I post my next video, and I hope to see you guys in next time. Bye. Yeah.